For more than 10 years, the Mountain Monsters team followed the Ames crew as they searched for mysterious creatures hidden in the Appalachian wilderness. People whispered stories about the Wolfman, the Grassman, and the Mothman. Most thought it was all just local legend and laughter, but behind the cameras, something much darker was happening, something that would change everything forever. Longtime investigator Jeff Headlee recently broke his silence. What he described wasn't just a normal hunt gone wrong, it was a night so terrifying that it nearly ended the team. The night they stopped filming wasn't planned, it was survival. After hearing Jeff's story, it's clear why the team was never the same again. For years, Jeff had been the calm, logical voice of the group, the man behind the monitors. While Trapper led the hunts and Buck charged into danger, Jeff stayed back, recording coordinates, mapping sightings, and finding patterns. Most fans didn't realize how important his role really was. But months before Mountain Monsters quietly went off air, Jeff began noticing strange changes. Sightings of creatures were increasing rapidly, too rapidly. Reports from miles apart described the exact same thing: glowing eyes, a foul smell, heavy breathing, and tracks that vanished mid-trail. The strangest part? The encounters seemed to overlap, as if one single creature was appearing in different places at the same time. When the producers asked the Ames team to revisit an old hunting ground deep in the Monongahela National Forest, Jeff protested. That area had a bad reputation, even among locals. Trapper once called it the place where the woods breathe. It was a spot where compasses spun wildly, batteries died for no reason, and voices echoed when no one was around. They had filmed there once before, but after one night of strange interference, it was banned from the show's production list. Still, the producers wanted bigger scares, and they knew that this place had the kind of story that could bring in ratings. Against their better judgment, the team went back. They arrived just before dusk. The air was thick with the smell of wet pine. Jeff set up the base monitors, but couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't alone. The woods felt wrong, too still, too quiet. Even the wind sounded different. He marked their coordinates: 7:43 p.m. That would be the last clear entry he ever recorded. By nightfall, the usual camp laughter had stopped. Even Buck, who always found a way to joke, sat quietly by the fire. It felt like the forest was listening to them. Just before midnight, Jeff noticed something strange on his GPS, a single line of text flashing across the screen. "It's already here." The next morning, he tried to dismiss it as a glitch, maybe a prank, but deep down, he knew it wasn't. The message came through a secure channel only the Ames-based system could use. Someone, or something, had accessed their feed. Later that day, they met an old trapper named Harris, who refused to go near the ridge after dark. He told them the creature wasn't new. It had been around for generations. "My granddad called it the wood devil," Harris said quietly. "It doesn't hunt for food. It hunts to remind you it's still here. You don't find it, it finds you." Jeff checked his historical logs and found eerie similarities. Every 10 years, reports of strange creatures spiked, always in that same hollow. Thick fog, strange magnetic shifts, livestock found torn apart, but with no blood. That night, the team set up camp again. Jeff watched the trees sway oddly, as if the wind was moving the wrong way. Around 11 p.m., the motion sensors started tripping, one by one, forming a perfect circle around their camp. Russell whispered, "Could be deer." Jeff shook his head. "Deer don't move in a ring." Then came the smell, metallic and sour, like rust and decay. Buck covered his nose. Jeff recognized it immediately, the same stench from a past hunt, right before all their equipment had shut down. The perimeter lights flickered. The forest went dead silent. Through the static on his monitor, Jeff caught a glimpse of something tall and broad between two trees, motionless, watching. He tried to focus the camera, but the feed turned to static. Then, through his headset, came a low, distorted whisper, repeating the same words from before. "It's already here." By the third night, things had gone from strange to terrifying. Jeff's sensors kept failing. His laptop reset on its own, erasing every file he'd logged. The metadata showed no trace of the deleted data, as if it never existed. When he tried reconnecting to GPS, The screen flashed. No fix found. He told the others, "It's like we're off the map." At 8:42 p.m., the motion sensors picked up several heat signatures about 200 yards out. Jeff switched to thermal imaging. He expected to see animals. Instead, he saw upright shapes, tall, symmetrical, and moving in perfect synchronization. He counted 5 of them, walking in formation. "That's not random movement," Jeff muttered. "That's formation." Russell and Huckleberry grabbed flashlights and moved toward the ridge. Jeff stayed behind, monitoring the feed. The static grew thicker, and faint breathing sounds came through the line. Then, the camera flickered. One of the figures broke away, charging toward the ridge. A flare shot into the sky, lighting the forest red. The shapes vanished, but a deep roar echoed across the valley, shaking the monitors. Buck's voice crackled through the radio. "It's circling us!" Then, silence. Jeff tried the backup transmitter, but it glitched. Letters began to appear on his screen as if someone, or something, was typing back. "Don't follow." That was when Jeff stopped thinking about proof. He thought only about getting out alive. The forest grew darker and heavier. The fire that once gave warmth now felt like a beacon, calling whatever was out there closer. Jeff fought to restore the camera feeds, but one came back just long enough to show something massive moving through the shadows. 8 feet tall, huge shoulders, sloped head. Then, the image froze. "Something's in the trees," Buck whispered. Every sound became sharp, branches cracking, leaves crunching. Around 2:14 a.m., the ground trembled. Every motion sensor went off at once. Lights along the perimeter blinked red. "It's behind us!" Huckleberry shouted. Jeff turned the camera and saw only a blur. A massive figure darting between trees at impossible speed. Then came the roar. It wasn't animal or mechanical. It was a sound that broke through the night like thunder and screaming combined. His equipment couldn't even record it. The air itself seemed to vibrate. "Shut the lights!" Jeff yelled. Darkness swallowed the camp. The only thing he could hear was their own breathing and something else, heavier, just beyond the tree line. Then one camera flickered back on. For a split second, it showed 2 glowing amber eyes staring directly into the lens. Then everything went black. No one moved. Finally, Buck whispered, "It's in the camp." That's all it took. Flashlights snapped on. The team grabbed weapons and ran. The monitors sparked and died, releasing a sharp metallic scent of burned circuits. Whatever was out there wasn't just playing with them, it was targeting them. They ran for the trucks, but when they reached them, their hearts sank. The tires were slashed. One windshield was shattered. From the inside, deep footprints covered the ground. Almost human, but far too large. "It walks on 2 legs," Huckleberry said quietly. Jeff tried calling for help, but the radio only played static, and beneath it, the sound of slow, heavy breathing. "Listen," Jeff whispered. "It's listening back." Then came a crack, a massive branch breaking under something's weight. The woods exploded in sound. They ran, not daring to look back until they reached the ridge. When they finally stopped, gasping for air, Jeff lifted his headlamp. Through the mist, 2 glowing orange lights hovered in the distance, eyes watching them. No one spoke. They all knew it wasn't over. When morning finally came, the forest looked calm again. Birds sang, sunlight filtered through the trees, and the mist was gone. But the Ames team was not the same. Jeff's hands shook as he unpacked the cameras. He needed to see what they had captured, proof of what had happened. But when he loaded the SD cards, his heart sank. Half the files were corrupted. The timestamps skipped entire hours. Some clips lasted only seconds before freezing on static. The footage that should have shown the creature's eyes instead broke apart into strange digital shapes, like the data had been shredded. "This isn't just damage," Jeff muttered. "It's erasure." Then he found something even more disturbing. 3 of the cameras had continued recording after they had left camp. The metadata proved the files were created hours after the power had been cut. "That's impossible," Russell said. Jeff opened the first video. For 3 minutes, it showed nothing but the empty campsite. Then, a massive shadow crossed the frame, blocking the faint glow of the firelight. The outline was human-like, but the proportions were wrong. The arms were too long, the torso was too wide. For a single frame, A hand pressed against the lens, the fingers long and sharp like claws. The video ended instantly. Maria, one of the production assistants, gasped. "It looks like it touched the camera." Jeff nodded slowly. "Because it did." The next file was worse. The audio was filled with a low humming that made the speakers shake. Underneath it, faint breathing, slow and heavy, could be heard. When they analyzed the sound back at headquarters, the pattern wasn't random. It matched the rhythm of human speech, but no words could be understood. Jeff turned off the monitor. "We didn't just film it," he said quietly. "It filmed us." Within 24 hours, every hard drive containing that footage was taken by the network's legal department. The team was told it was for review. They never saw those files again. Soon after, Mountain Monsters went dark. The network said it was routine data retrieval. Jeff called it what it really was, a cover-up. Within days, Destination America shut down all field operations. The team was ordered to go home immediately. No explanation, no debrief. When Jeff asked questions, he was told the footage had technical irregularities. But the words used in those emails made his skin crawl. Containment, liability, non-disclosure. Those weren't TV production terms. They were government terms. Crew members began quitting. The sound technician, Carl, left suddenly, saying he'd heard something breathing through the mic feed that wasn't human. Another crewman refused to sleep inside buildings after that. "Walls won't help," he muttered before walking away. Jeff tried to continue his research, but every copy of his field notes was missing. Even his backup drive had vanished. That's when he realized someone didn't want this story told. A few weeks later, Jeff and Huckleberry met with Trapper to discuss what happened. The old man listened in silence, smoking as Jeff explained everything, the erased data, the whispers, the missing files. When Jeff finished, Trapper leaned forward and said, "You think you saw it, but you didn't. You felt it, and that's worse." He warned them never to go back. "There are things in those woods that were here long before us," he said, "and they don't like being named." When Mountain Monsters returned for the next season, everything felt different. The team laughed less, they hunted more carefully, and they never returned to that hollow again. Fans noticed something was missing. The episode filmed right before the encounter was removed from rotation. No one knew why. Jeff stayed silent, bound by non-disclosure agreements and a promise to Trapper to let it go. But one night, while reviewing old footage, Jeff's computer froze. Then a new file appeared, one he didn't recognize. It had no label, no date. He opened it. The image showed their empty campsite. In the center stood a tall, dark figure, featureless, staring directly into the lens. In the corner of the frame, a message flickered briefly before disappearing. "Told you not to follow." Years passed, and the show continued, but the energy was gone. Jeff, once confident and steady, became quiet and withdrawn. He rarely appeared on camera. Fans assumed he was just tired, but the truth was far worse. Ever since that night, Jeff hadn't slept properly. He would wake up to faint tapping on his windows. Even in hotels, his radio gear would turn on by itself late at night, filling the room with static and faint breathing. Sometimes the same low humming sound from the tapes. He replaced all his equipment, rewired everything, but the noises always came back. "It's not a malfunction," he told Buck one night. "It's recognition. It knows my signal." At first, he kept it secret. He didn't want to scare the others. But when Huckleberry visited to help test some new gear, the same thing happened. The monitors turned on by themselves, and every sensor in the room spiked twice, then went completely dead. "That's the same pattern," Huckleberry whispered, pale, exactly the same. After that, Jeff's health began to decline. He hardly slept. He said he could hear slow footsteps circling his porch at night. Neighbors reported hearing strange howls in the woods behind his house, but no tracks were ever found. During a rare public event in 2022, a fan asked Jeff why Mountain Monsters felt different after Season 7. Jeff smiled faintly, took a breath, and said, "Because some of us stopped hunting monsters, and some of us realized the monsters started hunting us." The crowd laughed nervously, thinking it was just part of the act. But Jeff didn't laugh. The look on his face told another story. That night, he packed his field gear and typed one last note into his research log. "It followed me home." Months later, Jeff finally decided to speak publicly. Not through a big interview or a network show, but during a small live stream watched by only a few thousand fans. He looked exhausted, his voice trembling. "For years," he said, "I kept quiet because of contracts and threats. But the show didn't end because of ratings. It ended because of what we found." He revealed that one of the backup drives thought to be destroyed had resurfaced. An anonymous editor from the production team still had fragments of the footage from that night in the hollow. Jeff said he watched the video alone in the dark. It began with shaky night vision shots of the forest. Then, movement. A tall figure stepped from the tree line. Its shoulders were broad. Its eyes glowed amber. It stared straight into the camera and raised one long arm, the same gesture seen in the corrupted clips. Then the footage shook violently and went black. Jeff looked directly into the camera and said, "It wasn't human, and it wasn't afraid of us." After that stream, the video disappeared. No one could find a trace of it, not even in cached files. The network refused to comment. The editor who sent Jeff the footage deleted his account and vanished. Rumors spread online, theories about government involvement, secret tapes, or a final warning from the Ames team. But Jeff's final message was simple. "We thought we were hunting something wild," he said, "but it's older than the mountains, and it's not finished with us." He ended the live stream with one last line, a quote from Trapper. "We didn't end mountain monsters. The mountain did." The screen went black. Then came faint static. And in that silence, everyone watching felt it, that somewhere, deep in those endless woods, the story wasn't really over.